What up, Pisces? So, if you saw the spirit messages, I wanted to do a series on moving us forward from things that are holding us back in 2019 so that we can kind of transition smoothly into 2020. Now, we got to be realistic. We only got a month and a half. Not all of us are going to be able to make these drastic changes, but some people have been working on these changes the whole year. They've been healing. So the transition is going to be a little bit smoother. For some, this is going to be some things that maybe you're still having that linger on that are still kind of holding you back. For a few, this may even be things that you didn't even think that you had, still kind of dragging you, dragging with you to 2020. So we're going to use Tough Shit Tarot because I like it. It's very direct. It's to the point. It's going to bring to light some of the things that maybe you're struggling with, some of the things that are going to be holding you back or could be holding you back, and maybe some things that you need to go ahead and release so that you don't have that energy follow you into 2020. If it does, maybe this will give you some type of idea or focal point that you can work on so that you can diminish this or demolish it in 2020, whatever works for you. All right, Pisces. So let's see. Tough Shit Tarot. What needs to be released in 2020 or released now so that you don't have to bring it in? All right. Let's see. Tough Shit Tarot. Has some people talking about, oh, there you go doing that Tough Shit Tarot stuff with these messages. Yes. If you need to hear it, you need to hear it, right? Pisces, Pisces, Pisces. Let's see. One more time. One more time for Pisces. Okay. So let's see. Woo, you are full of excuses at the moment. No matter how right you believe you are, try shifting the pattern and taking this problem vertically and accepting some responsibility and accountability for your actions. There was a time you ruled your social circle. Perhaps you were prom queen or star athlete. Whatever it is, this card indicates you're living in the glory of your past in an unhealthy way. It would be better served by being present and accepting in this moment. Explore a new sexual relationship. Don't make it weird. Don't get attached to the idea of commitment. Just get laid and remember to be safe. You're dissatisfied with the outcome of a recent decision. Things didn't go quite as planned. Once you accept responsibility for your choices, you can forgive yourself, grow, and move on. Your current love interest is a great fit for you, but you're showing your affection in an unhealthy way. If you aren't careful, you may drive them away. Pisces. This card appears to those who have very high standards. It serves as a reminder to first hold yourself to these standards before pushing others to change. If you discover that your expectations don't work for yourself, they will certainly not work for those around you. Be flexible, forgiving of yourself and others. Okay, so Pisces, a lot of you, what it looks like with the Tough Shit Tarot, are having some issues with a relationship or attachment or abandonment issues that you may be pulling into 2020. Now, the thing is showing that for some of you, you may have made a decision to enter into a relationship that maybe was a fuck boy, fuck girl type of energy. And maybe you some kind of way within this year thought it was going to move forward or thought it was going to grow. And now you're realizing that maybe it's not moving forward into a healthier relationship. For some of you, you may be finding yourself getting caught up in toxic relationships, whether this is friendships or sexual relationships. For some of you, you may be dealing with some type of sexual addiction or dealing with somebody who has a sexual addiction. Now, it is showing that if you were stuck in a situation where it was a sexual thing and you wanted more, some of you are going to have to come to the reality that it is what it is and to let it go. It's almost like going on a date with somebody and going, oh, they look beautiful. I really, really like them. And, I'm going to go ahead and pick the bridal magazine up on my way home, or I'm going to, introduce them to the family this holiday season. And this was the first date. Some of you may be having attachment issues. For a few of you, you may be having attachment issues that are toxic that you can't cut because maybe you feel some type of sense of obligation that may not be completely right. It may be something that is one-sided. You may be seeing a relationship that you're attached to, but the other person is not attached to you, and vice versa. So for some of you with relationship, make sure that you're not holding on to dead weight, people, relationships that don't need to be there anymore out of whatever feeling, if it's obligation, sexual addiction, abandonment issues, attachment issues. You have to be really accountable and be honest with yourself. Do I really love this person? I've been with this person 5 years. The sex is amazing. They make my toes curl. But this is not somebody that I want to marry. This is somebody that I don't want to have children with. I can't see myself doing this. Some of you could be in relationships with people like this, where it's like you might be 100% all into them and you might be possessive about them, but maybe they're not reciprocating that. Maybe they don't want to get married. They don't want to have children. So for some Pisces, you're going to have to kind of look at it and go, am I holding on to situations or people because I don't want to be alone, because they are something that I'm comfortable with or I'm complacent with? Because I'm getting a lot of roommate vibes here. It's like, oh, let's get together and let's split the rent and we'll have sex every now and then, but I'm really not in a relationship with you. But it could be stopping you from getting into a relationship with other people or forming meaningful relationships with other people. Make sure that you're not using this as a crutch. For some of you, you may honestly feel like people that you're dealing with are beneath you. This could be an exaggerated sense of ego. It won't apply to everybody. Or you could be dealing with people like this where there's this thing of not feeling good enough, or there's insecurities of wanting more and holding on to a situation just because of status, like being married and having kids, and it's not really what you want. Or even presenting falsehoods, like being gay and being married and having children, and that's not who you really are. That's not what you really want. Some of you may be creating expectations that are a little bit too high for even you. And this could be based on fantasy, like this is what I want it to be, but it's not really what it is. For some of you, you have to be really honest with that. I do see for a few that don't want to be in a relationship, they want to be fancy free. Make sure you're being honest. Make sure that you are getting into relationships and being 100% on the table, above board with somebody and saying, you know what, I just want to be your fuck buddy. I don't really want to get married. I don't want the picket fence. I don't want to have children. I don't even want a pet. I just want to have sex and have fun with you. Some of you have to be really, really clear about that with people that are coming into your life. Now, for a few of you, you might be dealing with people that's all they want, but they're not being honest with you. And Spirit is saying, trust your intuition. If it doesn't feel right, if they're not rising to your expectations, it's time to let that go. I mean, I've seen women and read for women and had good friends where they waited on a guy or female 15 years. They're gonna be my wife or my husband. All I got to do is put some more time or energy into it. But it never was what this person wanted. They became very complacent. And because of attachment issues, either they didn't want to walk away or you possibly didn't want to walk away. Make sure that you're not overlooking red flags. You want better. So why are you settling? Why are you dealing with people that are not giving you what you need, especially for your growth? If you're still walking into 2020 with a relationship that has been growing and moving for the last 15, 20 years, but you're not getting what you want out of it, you kind of have to look at yourself and go, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I with this? Some of you need to go ahead and cut that tie. I do see with the card, there was a time where you ruled your social circle. Some of you are living in the past, the glory of the past, where it was like, oh, I remember in high school, I was the star athlete or the cheerleader and people paid me all this attention. And there could be this need of wanting it, needing it. Like, look at me. And you may be getting frustrated and feeling some kind of way because people aren't giving you that same energy. And it could be setting you up for fake relationships where you're dealing with people that are pretending to care more about you, or you're pretending to care more about them. It is showing that this is living in the past, not really looking in the future. And you got to ask yourself, okay, why? I understand that elevated me or gave me a sense of purpose, but some of you, it's over, it's done. Whatever happened in 1999 is over with. We're moving into 2020. So if you're still stuck on an energy or memories of something that was made you feel good or elevated you, you may have to really look into therapy or look into some, whether this is traditional therapy or spiritual therapy, to cut that tie, because some of you can't see the future because you're looking back. I want what I had. That may not be the best thing for you at this time. 2020, we're moving into new technology, new communication, new ways of attaching or adapting to things. And for some of us, we're having a hard time with that change because we kind of put ourselves in this time capsule, this bubble, and it's where you are. It's almost like dealing with somebody who's been wearing their hair the same way for the last 30 years. They don't want to change it. Or they've been eating the same type of foods. They don't want to change it. You have to ask yourself why. And for a lot of you, it's because it's comfort. It is a place of security, but it is not real because you've outgrown it. Whether you understand it or not, you've outgrown it because things have moved forward. So for some of you, you really have to look at that and say, you know what, that's not me anymore. That's not me. And that's not to say that the you that's coming can't be better. But you have to kind of release that and say, I'm not that person anymore. It's like somebody who, did drugs in high school, or was the pothead, or, the whatever. And people still see them in 2020 like, oh, yeah, you remember you were the weed smoker. That's all you did. You may not be that same person. But some people may not be able to disconnect from that. So for some of you that are stuck there, you have to figure out how to move yourself forward, because it may have been a good time, but it's past. And if you're stuck in the past, you cannot move forward. It keeps you stagnant. So we got to look forward. We got to move in a different direction. For some of you, I feel like we get the excuse card, which I always hate because every now and then I pull it, and it's always on point. And this is, I want better, but I want change, but I want a better relationship, but you got to figure out why there's the but. Why is it that stop? You want it. Make it happen. You don't have to stop there. I can do better so I can have better. You don't have to have that block, that wall there. For some of you, this is mental. This is like, okay, I know that I want this, but why can't you have it? So you got to be really honest with yourself and say, maybe I need help with this block at this point. If I can't move past it, maybe I need to go talk to somebody who can pinpoint what it is. What is it that I can't get past? For some of you, it's that you can't let go of something from the past. For a few of you, there's fear. I don't know what's in the future. I don't know what's going on with 2020. It could be worse. Maybe this was a bad year, but I'm afraid. So for a lot, this is fear. Fear of failure, maybe. Could be worse, but it could be better. I do get, for a lot of you, there's changes that are coming in. And there is this thing of complacency and comfort and feeling safe in something that is really holding you stagnant. It literally is like being trapped in a time warp where, you're dancing, you're partying, and it's like, okay, this is good. But there's no growth. You're stuck in that cycle. It's the same thing over and over. You wake up every day, you do the same thing. You see the same thing, you experience the same thing. And for some of you, you're tired of this energy, but you're not really sure how to move forward. And that's where the excuses come in, because I think it's the fear of failure, of I want this, but I'm afraid that it won't happen the way that I want it to happen. It probably won't. But the thing about it is you won't know unless you try. It could actually be better. I kind of come to the place where I wanted to start a business for so many years. And it was like, what if I fail? And then I thought to myself, would you really let yourself fail? But I was afraid of it. What if people don't support this? And then I was like, well, maybe one or two people may support it. So you kind of have to figure out what the solution is. If you have that problem where you're stuck, but what's the solution? There has to be a solution. So for a lot of you, if you're stuck in a problem, if you don't want to deal with it, that's cool. You can stay. You can stay right where you're at. There's some people that are stuck in 1999, 1998, 2013 because they've chosen to just stop and stay there. For a lot of you, though, it may not be serving a purpose because society is moving forward. The energy is moving forward. You're seeing people around you change, and it's affecting your relationship. People don't relate to you the same way because they've grown and you may not. And some of you are starting to see that. It's like, oh, I need to grow. I need to connect with this energy. And for a lot of you, you will. It is showing that you're going to open yourselves up, and it's because of change, the energy, the vibration, the people that you're with, especially when it comes to relationships. If you've been hurt, if you're holding on to pain, some of you really want to try something different. You may want to relocate for love. You may want to, remarry. You may want to date outside your race. You may want to, date somebody who's the same gender or sex as you, but you're not really sure how other people are going to affect that. Well, we're living in 2020. A lot of things I know people are going to say haven't changed, but there's some things that have opened up. You have some people that are awakened. You have some things that are moving in a different vibration. So maybe it's time for you to come out of whatever it is that's holding you in the past, that's making all these excuses, and saying, let me try something different. Let me move forward. Let me see what else is out there, because it's showing that these are not people that are holding you back. These are limitations that you're placing on yourself. I'm afraid. I want to try it, but what if it doesn't turn out? What if it gets weird? What if they think I'm weird? What if my expectations are not there? Be flexible. Spirit is saying be forgiving of yourself, but also be flexible. Don't get caught up in everything has to be perfect. Everything has to be a certain way. If you do that, you're not going to change, because you're never going to get that reality. You never will. If people were to think everything was going to be perfect, a lot of people wouldn't advance. The things we wouldn't grow, we wouldn't evolve. We do this to learn. So for some of you, you have to push yourself out to learn, and it's showing that you have to do it in a way where you're taking blocks away. You're taking these excuses out the way. You're saying, you know what, I'm going to do one step at a time. I'm going to try this, and if I don't die, then I'll do another thing next weekend. And if I survive that, then the next weekend I'll do something different. And that's going to be what gradually brings you into 2020. But if you don't do those things, you're going to be stagnant in the energy, and you're going to have people that outgrow you. You're going to have relationships that outgrow you, opportunities that outgrow you, and you're going to feel disconnected from that. And for some of you, you already are in that energy. You don't want it anymore. You want to move forward one step at a time. Once you realize that you'll be okay, you'll realize that the world is not going to end or stop. You'll connect with that. You'll connect with that energy, and you'll be like, okay, all right, I can do it. I'm all right. Nobody's looking at me crazy. I'm not blowing up. I'm not getting struck by lightning. But you have to start letting go of the excuses of why you can't, because you can. You can, and you will. All right? So Pisces, open your heart up. Try new things. Try new experiences. The pain won't kill you. And I know a lot of people feel that, but to be honest, that's part of your evolution. That's part of your growth. You got to come out of that energy. You got to come out of that bubble. It's cool, but there are new things. There's parties. There's other things that are going on in 2020 that you really want to be a part of. Trust me, there's a lot of good growth. There's a lot of good spiritual awakening, enlightenment, that you really can get some really great energy and vibration from to elevate you and really open yourself up to all the possibilities that maybe you thought weren't there, but they will be. All right. Love you, Pisces.